Look at that. And welcome back to Whiskey Buds. If you joined us last week, I am Kurt, still, from last week. And from last week, we still have
Frank.
And
No, I'm just kidding. I'm still Billy.
Billy, you're not Frank? What is that, Frank and Ernest? In Boston I'm Frank, and something else I'm Ernest. At least to the women, something like that.
The show's going off the rails.
Yeah. Long Kiss Goodnight, anyways. If anybody caught that reference that I botched completely, dude, write it in the comments, because you you deserve a thumbs up or something for even catching what I tried to say, because he's usually pretty good about it, but he couldn't even catch that.
What Carla failed to realize, Mr. King, is that I'm always frank and earnest with women. In New York, I'm frank. In Chicago, I'm earnest.
That's how bad I botched it.
I'm excited about today, though. Where's our bottle?
Yeah, dude, I think you stole it. Let's see. I think, actually, I stole it. Today is my only Texas whiskey, I believe. Balcones Brimstone, made in Waco, Texas. Balcones is pretty famous down in Texas, from what I hear. To make some really good whiskeys. I'd like to get a few more of them. I just happened to find this one on the clearance aisle. Apparently it was too much for a lot of people to handle. We'll find out soon enough if Billy is one of them. So I picked it up, and yeah, it's like I'm a big fan of the smoky whiskeys.
Yeah, so
we haven't got into any of them. So this is Billy's first smoky whiskey.
Yeah,
real smoke whiskey.
Yeah, for context, last episode we had the 1920.
Yep. Old Forester.
Excuse me. And it had something in there that I was like, what is that? And I thought it was a little smoky, but I wasn't sure because I don't know.
Might be a little smoke, yeah.
I don't know what smoking whiskey's like. So I was like, hey, Kurt, you got anything with smoke in it? And he's like, I got just the thing.
Well, yeah, I got lots of smoky whiskeys, but only two, that do not have peat smoke.
Yeah.
So, and this happened to be one of them. So, yeah, this one here I have tried at one other point, and dude, yeah, it is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, so as I did last episode, he poured this and we took a little sniff, and I don't know, for some reason I get a hint of like motor oil.
Yeah.
And,
dude,
and now that you said it's from Texas, I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what they drink down there. Is little.
Yeah, what do you think they're watering the cornfields with? Dude, yeah, this
is wild.
It's so much different than that 1920 to be smelling this over that.
Yeah, it smells like nothing else I've smelled yet.
Yeah,
in this
we'll have a few others that might compete with it, but this is in a league of its own for both smell and taste. Really, this is going to be. I am actually really curious to see how well you handle it.
Why?
At 53%, it is not as strong, and I mentioned this last week, of course, but it's 53%, so what is that, 106 proof?
You don't do math on camera.
Dude, after you've been drinking, you don't care what you do on camera. You drink enough of this stuff, and, well, oh, man, you got that smoky flavor there, that smoky scent, sorry. This particular bottle is from 3 years ago.
Roasted blue corn.
Yeah, roasted blue
that's
corn.
Interesting.
So,
all right.
Okay? And this Brimstone is smoked with Texas scrub oak. So most of the smoky whiskeys will come from Scotland, and they'll be peat smoked. I did see one when I was going through Iceland that I wanted to buy, but I never did because I was budgeted, and I just didn't quite have the budget for it. But it was a sheep dung smoked whiskey.
What?
Yeah.
Auto pass on that one.
Dude, I wanted to buy it so bad. I'm ready to go back and buy it just to try it. Just, But this is Texas scrub oak instead of the usual peat smoke. Or peat smoked whiskey, yeah.
All right, well, this smells growing on me, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Holy cow! What's going on?
Whoa, yeah. What do they say that? That's the good stuff. Dude, you got that smoke flavor in there. You get the corn flavor in there. Think back to the corn whiskey, the Gold Spur that you had.
I think I'm tasting some oil. Like straight up motor oil.
That's probably not the tasting notes they were going for when they made this whiskey. Let's make one that tastes like motor oil,
Yeah, I was like,
but that you can drink.
Little oak, little motor oil.
What I gotta wonder is that when you taste things and smell, like smell is normal, right? Like when you smell things, you associate it with things that you've smelled in the past, that you are smelling something similar to something you smelled in the past. So you're changing the oil in your car, doing something like that, lawnmower, whatever. You get the scent of motor oil. He's tasting motor oil. What does that say about... Like, when has he ever been topping off the lawnmower and saying, that looks pretty good. I think maybe I should. Oh, man.
Probably all those guys down in Texas on the oil rigs, and they're like, they hit whatever they call it, Eureka or...
I don't know, like when it sprouts out like an Armageddon.
When they hit it, when they drill it, and it just pops up, and you see, like in the movies, their face is all covered in oil there. We struck off, baby! Yeah. And it goes in their mouth, and they're like, that'd make a good whiskey.
I'm thinking more along that lines, is they're out there celebrating, drinking it, and it's pouring down, and they're not going to waste the good whiskey, and then they're like, hey, that tastes pretty good.
Like big glob oil. It's like, well, whatever.
It's natural. It comes from the ground. It's
okay. And they try it, and they're like, that's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. That's got a kick.
Maybe we ought to sell it.
Oh, man.
That's something else right there. I recommend you go buy a bottle of this just to try it.
Yeah. What do you think how does that compare to any of the other whiskeys you've had? You're only like 16, 15, 12 whiskeys in. Something, I don't know. I wasn't even math and I couldn't do it.
I don't know. It's fun to drink.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to sit down and try to enjoy it, but it's fun to, I can see you getting your buddies together and hey, drink
seeing which one can
some
hold it together.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. What do you think? You so just an occasional one? You like it just for the difference, right?
I like it for the novelty, but I don't know. It's not bad. It's a darker one, which I kind of enjoy the strong flavors. Mm-hmm. It had a pretty good burn to begin with.
But afterward, yeah, because I noticed the burn at first too, but after a few sips, it
it burns, but then the flavors overwhelm your senses. You know, it's like, and don't worry about that. Look at all this other stuff going on.
Yep, yeah, and when you have the strong flavors, and I've noticed that with the higher proof whiskeys, is that the flavor, because remember when they put it in a barrel like this, and this may not be, this might have been barreled higher, but at 53 is where they decided that was where the flavor comes in at. But much like a soup stock or anything else, right? You prepare it, and then you're like, oh man, the flavor's really strong. Let's water it down. Let's add it. And in whiskey, it's called proofing it down. Adding water to it so that you have less alcohol content, but it waters down the flavor, because where the alcohol from the barrel is where all the flavor is too. So these higher proof whiskeys will contain a higher flavor content or flavor profile. And that's where my preference usually is to the higher proofs. Although, again, some of those other ones just light and easy to drink.
So does this have rye in it at all?
I don't know if it does or not, honestly.
Because
Hey, look at that. It says it's aged at least 1 day in oak. So it must be the motor oil that colors it. Yeah, dude, that is a dark flavor.
It's very interesting.
The original Texas whiskey. They don't say anything. Yeah, made from roasted blue corn. I bet it's just 100% corn whiskey.
And oil.
Yeah. Non-chill filtered, as always. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Brimstone is sure to be a memorable pour.
All right.
I bet you'll remember that one, won't you?
Yeah, that's a very interesting one. Yeah. So I want to thank some of our viewers.
Like who?
Like Celeste and Jeff, and Hans, and who else? Who do you got?
Hands. We got Larry, and we got Dana. You already mentioned Jeff. I'm assuming you mentioned the Jeff that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Can't forget Christina and Isabella.
Oh, yeah.
Two
Our
of our
two biggest supporters. The two biggest. Yeah. I think that's pretty much the ones I know that actually watch it, that I've actually talked to in person.
Well, they like to leave comments and stuff. So yeah.
Hey, Larry, you got to leave the freaking comment before we drink your whiskey. I did actually buy it, but it's not an official request on a whiskey to drink until you post a comment, or else he's not getting it. Okay, so.
I think everybody should try that because it's just.
It's such an excellent whiskey to have just for the fun aspect of just.
I just want people to try it and see if they taste the oil in the like,
dude, I don't taste motor oil, but then
but
again, I don't know what motor oil tastes like.
Come on, it's like.
Come on, like what? Come on, you've tried it. I know you have.
All right, out of here.
Cheers, everybody.